Golden State's largest insurer is wreaking fresh havoc on beleaguered California homeowners hit by the January wildfires. Just after it secured approval to raise home insurance rates by an average of 17%, the San Francisco Chronicle is now reporting State Farm plans to ask regulators for an additional 11% increase that would go into effect next month. This is for condo owners and renters as well. Hello. Joining me now, LA resident and billionaire real estate developer Rick Caruso. Rick ran for mayor of Los Angeles back in 2022. Rick, you're an LA guy. I know you know people who lost their homes, who, if they didn't lose their homes, they can't move into them because of the toxic fumes and gases that are still hanging around. What do you make of this State Farm move?
Well, Liz, it's a complicated situation out here in California. Long before the fire hit, it was complicated. So the insurance industry in California is so overregulated that what's happened is the insurance industry has basically moved out of California, and that has created this vacuum. And as we know, in a capital markets, that does not bode well for costs. And so it has increased the cost of insurance. And so what the insurance companies have been saying for many years, what they're charging in premiums does not compensate them for the risk, so therefore we're going to leave the state, or we're going to leave certain areas. Many people in the Palisades and Altadena and Malibu were canceled weeks and months before the fire hit, which is tragic. So that's one side of the story. The insurance industry in California has got to be reinvented. It's got to be more of an open market situation to be competitive, to reduce the cost of insurance. And at the same time, this is not the time to be overtaxing people, especially who are fire victims, who are trying to get their homes rebuilt.
Exactly, Rick. And that's my issue here. I'd hate to think, I mean, I hear what you're saying, because we're free market people here on the Claim and Countdown for sure, but I'd hate to think what these guys would do if they had less regulation. And I know that the long-time situation in California is such that a lot of these guys have been chased out. The Florida flood insurers, I mean, we know that whole story too. It's the same in a lot of these states where people want to live, but we have events such as these that are devastating. That said, what would you say to State Farm right now? Because for years, many of these people have been paying their premiums diligently. And I just talked to somebody whose insurer is Geico, and Geico's turning them down after these people paid for years and years. And suddenly, when they need the help back, oh, sorry, this is a one-way ATM. It only works with your money coming to us and not the other way around.
Right. Well, listen, I would certainly say to State Farm, they have to handle this with a lot of compassion in the fire victim areas. You have to figure out a way to make a deal that works for them and works for the fire victims. But the state and the federal government are going to have to come in and help them do that. It can't just be State Farm taking it. But again, and I'm not trying to defend the insurance industry, because there's a whole bunch of things that they need to fix on their side. But the state also has to have a free market system in order to make it competitive. If you don't make it competitive, you're going to have artificially high rates, and you're not going to have enough industry coming in here wanting to serve the public. So State Farm needs to work with the governor needs to lean in, and I believe the federal government's going to need to lean in and allow people to get rebuilt.
Well, speaking of which, you are always wanting to be part of the solution rather than the problem. Would you consider a run for governor?
Well, I'm going to make that decision at the end of the summer, and it's certainly something people have been talking to me about, and I'm honored by that. I think we need a lot of common sense in Sacramento. If we had more common sense, I don't think we'd be having the problems we have actually in the state. So we'll see. End of summer, I'll let you know, Liz.
Let's go back to what you've been trying to do to help these homeowners. You founded the nonprofit Steadfast LA, which hopes to accelerate the rebuilding for a lot of these people. What are you doing right now, and what's the AI component to this? We found that very interesting.
So Steadfast LA is a nonprofit. We've got the best and the brightest around the table rolling up their sleeves solving problems, and one of them is, how do you cut through the permitting process? LA could take 6 to 8 months to go through plan check. Two companies came together, led by a guy named Mike Hopkins of Amazon, developed an AI model working with a company out of Australia, Alcatech. We delivered it to the city, we've delivered it to the county, and they're going to be able to plan check at no cost, by the way, at no cost. They'll be able to plan check within a matter of hours. So you're going to save people thousands of hours, thousands of dollars getting your home plan checked. But Steadfast and I firmly believe this problem is too big. The government alone, it's got to be a public-private partnership. And what Steadfast brings to the table is innovation and urgency and pushing the government agencies along because they are overwhelmed. And frankly, we had a failure of leadership here in Los Angeles, and we haven't recovered from that. So we're trying to fill the void, and I think doing a good job. I'm proud of my team.
Good, good. We'd like to continue to follow that. And finally, because we've got a lot going on in Washington, D.C., and the tax bill is working its way very slowly, but possibly, surely, nobody knows yet, through Congress. The SALT cap, the state and local tax deduction cap, it's at $10,000 right now. It's been proposed to be moved up to $30,000, and this hits proportionately positively if it were raised to Californians and New Yorkers who tend to pay a lot in federal taxes and take out less than a lot of the poorer states that need a lot of this. So give me your sense of what you think it should be, because you've got some New York congressmen and women who are Republicans, and they are holding out. They said that the 30,000 cap is insulting. They want it higher.
Well, listen, I'd like to have it higher too. California, we are net negative. So we send a lot of money to the federal government, and we don't get the same amount of money back. And I think we're treated unfairly. So I am a full support of having a higher amount on that, and I hope they get that through.
Well, Rick, I want you back before the end of the summer, but especially if you decide to run for governor, because Gavin Newsom is facing term limits, so he's going to be out. And give us a sense if it happens. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, Liz. Appreciate the time. Take care.